Number 60 Start of the book. Suicirtttap # Beyond Death * The Death Ray Basic Chamber OCP1.N. Number 60 Start of the book. By Victor Gomez of the Bodhisattva the Samael on WEOR, the Physically Resurrected. Beyond Death. Introduction to Gnosis, 2nd Grade Elementary Primer. Samael on WEOR. Kulki Avatar of the New Age of Aquarius. 3rd Enlarged and Corrected Edition, Bogota, Colombia, 1975. The fear of death stems from ignorance. One always fears what one does not know. That which continues after death can only be known by people of awakened consciousness. This book will give you the foundation to achieve it. Introduction. By V.M. Gargacoakines. Master Samael gives us this information about the afterlife in a simple way. Naturally, simple people will understand everything explained here, but those who are complicated will not understand it because they complicate things with simplicity. When these works are translated by scholars who already understand Gnostic wisdom, then they will be able to know everything expressed here. Hidden wisdom says, God is simple, everything else is complex. We must make ourselves simple. If this is the first time you've encountered a work by Master Samael on Weors, such as this one, we will help you understand it. You are a soul with a body. This body is the vehicle you travel in, the one that moves you to where your senses lead you. This vehicle is worth far more than the best that humans invent, yet you take great care of your motorcycle, car, etc., because it cost you money, and you know that money brings power and control. But you take little care of the living vehicle because you are ignorant of life itself. Furthermore, everything you learn outside of it is materialistic knowledge, knowledge of dense matter. Your vehicle has 5 senses to inform you of everything that happens outside of you and 7 more potential senses to allow you to know the supersensible, that which cannot be seen or felt with the 5 already known, a total of 12 senses for the superior human being, for the one who manages to liberate the soul. When you verify the things reported here, don't be foolish enough to discuss them with anyone, not even your family, because they will only offend or denigrate you. With them, you can only talk about meat, rice, and lard, everything that is bought and sold for money. Christ called them all living dead because they live asleep even when their eyes are open. They are idolaters of the golden calf, slaves to worldly pleasures. So, if you want to get out of there, don't take their advice because the world doesn't want dealings with those who turn away from it. We're going to give you some advice, dear reader, if we can help. Don't allow your wife, if you're married, to bathe during her menstrual period, nor your daughters, if you have them, nor yourself, if you're a reader. Many unidentifiable ailments in women are linked to this. There can be basic hygiene without requiring a full bath. Don't allow the use of objects in your home to communicate with the dead. A method involving a small board or similar items has become widespread, supposedly turning those who play with these instruments into mediums or possessed individuals. Later, those who use them end up in clinics and asylums where psychiatrists or doctors are unaware of the condition. If you want to know Gnostic wisdom, you must immediately abandon fornication and adultery. Through your offspring, you will form Christ in your heart, and without adultery, you can take the angelic or Divic path. Fornicators and adulterers will never know the profound mysteries of sex because they do not unite to improve themselves but to give free rein to their demonic appetites. They do not even give their children the opportunity to develop in the mother's womb. They are more beastly than the very irrational beings who avoid them when their females are pregnant. Birds of the field abandon their nests when man disturbs their nests with eggs, hence eggs do not hatch when they are taken from one hen and placed in another. We Gnostics also require a single womb for our internal gestation. This womb is that of the priestess wife. The man who uses different wombs to achieve his redemption can never be gestated as a master. To show you how asleep people are, you can see the effigy of Christ with the cross on his back, sometimes staggering from the weight and lacerated, bloodied, or fallen to the ground washed in blood, and a multitude of people lighting candles for him and asking him for favors. He cannot bear his own cross and they bring him others' crosses so that he may also carry them. What folly! When Gnostic doctors emerge, pure men who perform miraculous healings, a river of humanity with unknown diseases, rejected by official medicine, overflows upon them and soon sweeps them away. If you study plant medicine and learn to heal, beware the world. Now listen to these reflections. A Gnostic peasant from the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta asked me, Master, how much does a 50-cent silver coin weigh? And I answered, it weighs 12.5 grams. He continued, why is it that an entire government like ours, which must be the richest thing we have, sells such a large coin for 50 cents, while Jews, referring to foreigners, sell a little pasta button that hardly weighs anything for 1 or 2 pesos. And I answered, "Why do you ask me that question?" And he showed me 6 very pretty pasta buttons, colorful, which weighed less than 2 grams, which he had obtained for 12 silver coins that weighed more than 5 ounces. I answered, "We are not economists, we are only Christians. But tell me, Master, why is it that we peasants, who have to wait 8 months or more with such sacrifice to harvest a single cassava, are paid only 50 cents when we sell a pound, not even the value of a single one of these little buttons?" And I answered him, "My friend, the colonial era is not yet over among us, when the Spaniards exchanged our grandparents' gold for mirrors and trinkets. Master, when will we be able to defend ourselves against such tyranny? My friend, no evil lasts 100 years, nor is there a body that can withstand it." In the body of Christian doctrine, the 4 Gospels, as a whole, constitute a complete social system for peaceful coexistence, since the leaders of the Latin American Christian Socialist Party are preparing themselves to defend, with the authority of heaven, all the working masses of our continents, to liberate them from all slavery, so that they may live in a better world amidst qualities that ennoble them and conditions that merit them. Now read, dear reader, this little work that shows you things from beyond and opens your eyes so that you can understand things here. May the deepest peace reign in your heart. SSS. Julio Medina v. Chapter 1, Physical Death. 1. What is physical death? R. The cessation of all organic functions, death. 2. What happens after death? R. Death is profoundly significant. By discovering what it truly is, we will know the secret of life. That which continues beyond the grave can only be known by those with awakened consciousness. You are asleep and therefore unaware of what lies beyond death. There are many theories, everyone can form their own opinion, but the important thing is to directly experience that which belongs to the mysteries of the afterlife. I can assure you that within the realm beyond this great nature live the souls of the deceased. 3. Why is there a fear of death? R. The fear of death stems from ignorance. One always fears what one does not know. When consciousness awakens, ignorance disappears, and then the fear of the unknown ceases to exist. 4. We know that the physical body disintegrates in the grave after death, but what happens to the soul, or where does it go? A. The souls of the deceased continue in the higher dimensions of nature. This means that the disembodied can see the sun, the moon, the stars, the rivers, the valleys, the mountains, just like us, but in a more splendid form. 5. Is it true that after leading a life of wickedness and debauchery, if we repent at the moment of death, the soul can be saved? R. For the unworthy, all doors are closed, except one, the door of repentance. It is clear that if we repent, even at the last moment, we can be helped to correct our mistakes. 6. Why do we come back to this world as ghosts after we die? R. It is good to know that within this planet there exists a parallel universe, regions of a 4th dimension where the deceased live. Such an apparently invisible world interferes with ours without being confused. 7. Where does the soul of a human being who takes their own life go? R. Suicides suffer greatly after disembodiment. They live here and now in the region of the dead and will have to return to a new womb and be reborn in this vale of tears and die against their will when they reach again the age at which they committed suicide, perhaps at moments when they are most hopeful about life. 8. Are spirit and soul the same thing? A spirit is, a soul is had. They are therefore different. 9. Do animals and plants have souls? A. Yes, they do. Plant souls are known in all universal legends by the names of fairies, etc. Animal souls are innocent creatures. Let's remember the word animal. If we remove the last letter L, it would be written like this, anima. 10. Is there a higher judgment after death, and who makes it? A. After death, we must review the life we have just lived, reliving it retrospectively, with our intellect and our heart. Once this retrospection is complete, we must appear before the courts of God, the angels of the law, known among Eastern cultures as the lords of karma. They will judge us according to our actions, and this judgment may result in our returning to a new womb to be reborn in this world immediately, or in spending a period of rest in the worlds of light and happiness, or finally, in being forced to enter the interior of the earth where the infernal worlds reside with all their sorrows and hardships. 11. When a child dies at birth, where does its soul go? R. It is written that the souls of children enter limbo, the region of the dead, but then they will re-enter a new womb and be reborn in this world. 12. Why does one die at birth? R. It is due to the law of destiny. Parents who needed to go through that hard lesson, who in previous lives were cruel to their children, and with this suffering they improve, they learn to love. 13. Do the masses said after death help the soul? R. Any ritual helps the souls of the deceased. It is clear that the prayers of the bereaved bring comfort to the souls of the departed. Chapter 2, Beyond the Tomb. 1. Why do some cry, others sing, and others smile at the moment of death? A. This question is divided into 3 stages. First, it is written that one is born crying and dies crying. Second, there are cases in which the dying person sings, recalling happy moments from the past. And third, they often smile, although this is not very common, possibly remembering pleasant scenes from their life. 2. Who commands the soul to leave the body so that it can be buried? R. At the moment the dying person breathes their last, an angel of death appears at the deathbed. There are legions of them. The funeral angel cuts the silver cord or thread of life that connects the soul to the physical body. The dying person usually sees this angel in spectral form, and the scythe with which it is depicted is certainly real. This instrument serves precisely so that this deity can cut the thread of existence. 3. What do the deceased eat and how do they pay? A. Here in Mexico, we celebrate the Day of the Dead on November 2nd each year. On that day, people visit the cemetery, place lit candles on the graves, and put out on plates, pots, glasses, etc., the foods and drinks that the deceased enjoyed most when they were alive. It is customary for many people to eat these leftovers afterward, and anyone with a little psychic sensitivity can notice that these delicacies lack the vital essence. Simple people believe, quite rightly, that their departed loved one is nourished by these foods. There is no doubt that the deceased truly eat, not the physical part of food, but their etheric food, the subtle, unknown to physical sight, but perceptible to clairvoyance. We must not forget that in all physical food there are etheric foods, easily assimilated by the deceased. The disembodied can visit a restaurant in the physical world, greet the living, and the living subconscious will respond. They will order food, and it is obvious that the restaurant owner's inner ego will bring to the table mental forms resembling the dishes and food consumed in the establishment. The disembodied being, seated in the dining room, will eat these subtle dishes, made with essence from the mental world, and pay with mental currency, then leave the restaurant. Under such conditions, it is obvious that the dead continue to believe they are alive, and this can be evidenced by anyone who has developed clairvoyance and the other faculties of the soul. 4. Where do the dead live? R. The deceased live the first few days in the house where they died or in the clinic or hospital where they died, and afterwards, since they have to relive the life they just lived, it is clear that they will live in those places where they previously lived. 5. How do the deceased dress? R. As they were accustomed to dress in life, they are usually dressed in the same clothes in which they were buried. 6. What forms of entertainment do the deceased have? R. It is clear that the drunkard will continue going to the bars, the filmmaker to the cinemas, the gambler to the gambling houses, the prostitute to where she lived, and the libertine to where they lived. 7. What sun shines on the dead? R. The sun that shines on the living is the same one that shines on the dead, only they see colors beyond the solar spectrum. They see colors that the physical retina of mortal people cannot perceive. 8. Do the deceased bathe, and with what water? R. It is obvious that they bathe in the same waters as the living, only they use the water of the fourth dimension. 9. Why do some people die faster than others? R. Because there are people who cling too tightly to the world and it's clear they don't want to leave it, and they linger in agony for hours and hours. 10. What hope do the deceased have? R. The matter of hopes is quite varied, it depends on the quality of the deceased. The greatest hope of a miser, even after death, is to acquire more riches, for his conscience is dormant. The greatest hope of a man in love will therefore be to find women who adore him, who love him, who idolize him. The greatest hope of a deeply religious man will be to enter the ineffable realms of light, etc., etc., etc. 11. What does the soul seek after it leaves the body? R. The soul seeks what it wants. The mother seeks her child and sometimes will make herself visible. The husband seeks his wife, if he adored her, and he who leaves buried treasures will seek them in the place where he left his riches, etc. 12. Do the deceased have authorities like in the physical world? R. Authorities exist in every corner of the universe, both among the living and the dead. For example, the authorities of the lost souls living in the abyss will be the demons themselves, the authorities of the ineffable will be those above them in the hierarchy. But since people's consciences are asleep, it is obvious that they continue to respect the authorities that exist in the physical world. 13. How do the dead see the world of the living? R. They see the same streets, the same cities, and the same people as if they were alive. 14. Why doesn't the deceased realize that he is dead? R. The deceased continues to believe they are alive because their consciousness is dormant, and it is very difficult to make them believe they no longer belong to the world of the living. Since they see everything exactly as they did in life, it is clear they do not suspect they have died. 15. What do the deceased do for a living? R. People, when they have died, continue to be occupied with the same tasks as when they were alive, since they do not suspect that they have perished. 16. Can a deceased person move wherever they want, as they did in life? A. The deceased have complete freedom to move around in all areas of space and to visit all places. 17. With what light are the dead illuminated? R. They are illuminated by astral light. Such light is a fire detached from the nimbus of the sun and fixed on the earth by the force of gravity and the weight of the atmosphere. 18. Is there any pain when dying? R. Death is painful for the young and delightful for the old. This is like a fruit, when it is ripe it falls of its own weight, but when it is green it does not fall, and one could say that it suffers from being detached. 19. After death, can one recognize their body in the coffin? R. They can see it, but they don't recognize it because, since their consciousness is asleep, they never believe that it is their own body, and they think it is someone else's body. 20. If the person realized they had died, could they get back into the body before they were buried? R. After the thread of life has been cut, it is no longer possible to enter one's body. In this case, when the person is aware that they have really died, they will either be terribly frightened or happy. It all depends on the moral conditions of the deceased. 21. What comfort does the soul receive when the body dies? R. The consolation of the disembodied is the prayer of the bereaved. We must pray for the dead. 22. Is there a fixed hour, day, and minute for dying? A. Every person who comes into this world receives a capital of vital values. When this capital is depleted, death ensues. It is important to clarify that we can conserve these values and prolong life. Those who do not know how to conserve vital values die sooner. 23. Can a deceased person take a living person to the world of the dead? R. We Gnostics learn to leave the physical body at will, so we can visit the world of the dead. The deceased can also sometimes take the souls of their friends with them. This happens especially during sleep, but they have to return to the physical world upon waking from normal sleep. That means that the visit to the world of the dead is done during the sleep of the body. 24. In the world of the dead, are there airplanes, cars, and trains like in the physical world? R. All the inventions that exist in the physical world come precisely from the region of the dead. Such artifacts are fundamentally mental forms that the disembodied can see, hear, touch, and feel. Chapter 3, The Law of Return. 1. What is meant by return? R. Ordinary people understand return to mean returning to a new matrix. This means that we can be reintegrated into a new human organism. It goes without saying that upon returning, we are reborn and exist again in the same form and manner as we experienced in our present existence. 2. Why do we not remember anything from our past lives? R. People do not remember their past lives because their consciousness is asleep. If it were awake, it is clear that they would remember their past lives. 3. Who are the ones returning? R. As long as one has a possibility of salvation, one can return to a new womb and clothe oneself in a new physical body. However, when the case is lost, when we have become definitively evil, when no punishment is of any use to us, then it is clear that we do not return, we are not given a new body, and we enter the infernal worlds where only weeping and gnashing of teeth are heard. 4. How can we verify that we return to this world again? R. The return to this world after death is, for some, just another theory, for others a dogma, a joke, a superstition, or a belief, but for those of us who remember our past lives, the return is a fact. This means that only by remembering our previous existences can we witness the stark reality of reincorporation or return to this vale of tears. However, we repeat, it is only possible to remember our past lives by awakening consciousness. 5. Why have we come back to this world? R. We return to this world with the purpose of becoming perfect, because unfortunately we are sinners and we need to end our mistakes. 6. What is it that returns to this world of human beings? R. What returns to this world is the soul of the deceased. 7. Do animals and plants also have their return to this world? R. The souls of plants, animals, and stones are the elementals of nature. They also return to this world continuously. For example, if a plant dries up and dies, the elemental of that plant is reborn in another plant. If an animal dies, the elemental of that creature returns in a new animal organism, etc., etc., etc. 8. Does predestination exist? R. Each soul is the architect of its own destiny. If one does good, then one receives good luck, and if one does bad deeds, one is reborn in this world to suffer and pay for all that one owes. Now it will be explained why some are born on a feather mattress and others in misfortune. 9. I would like to remember my past lives, but since my consciousness is asleep, how can I awaken it? A. Following the path of holiness is the way to awaken your conscience. Put an end to your mistakes, repent of your evil deeds, become pure in thought, word, and deed. I guarantee you that when you have attained true holiness, your conscience will have awakened. 10. Why do many of us not believe that we have had other past lives? R. Some people don't believe this simply because they don't remember their past lives, and they really don't remember them because their consciousness is completely asleep. 11. Sir, do you remember your past lives? Are you certain that return exists? R. It is clear that if I did not remember my past lives, I would not dare to defend the doctrine of return with such passion. Fortunately, I remember with complete accuracy all the lives I have had on planet Earth. 12. How many times can one return? R. It is written in letters of gold in the book of life that one returns to this world 108 times. 13. Why do some human beings return as men and others as women? R. It all depends on life's events. Sometimes we have to return in a female body and other times in a male one. This is in accordance with the actions of our previous lives. 14. Why is it said that if we mistreat animals, we can return as a horse, dog, cat, etc.? R. Lost souls enter the infernal worlds. There, as the Holy Scriptures say, they pass through the second death. It is after such a death that the condemned souls are freed from all stain, then they can return to this world. They evolve as mineral elementals, ascending later to the vegetable state, then they are reincorporated into animal organisms, and later, they will reconquer the human state that they once lost. Upon reaching those heights they are assigned 108 lives again, with the purpose of making them perfect, but if they fail again, the same process is repeated. 15. Why is it that when in certain places one has the feeling that one already knows them so well that one can give a detailed description of them? R. That phenomenon is due to the fact that in previous lives we were in that place. 16. How many opportunities are there to return as a human being? How many as an animal? How many as a plant? And how many as a mineral? A. The return in human beings is already duly calculated at 108 times, but the return in plant or animal organisms or simply as elemental minerals, does not have an exact number. 17. Is it possible to go from the plant kingdom to the human kingdom, or from the animal kingdom to the mineral kingdom? R. From the plant kingdom one passes to the human, but through the animal. This means that we cannot skip it because nature does not make leaps. If the animal elemental degenerates, then it devolves, regresses, to the mineral state, naturally passing through the plant state beforehand. 18. In what dimension are the so-called elementals of plants and minerals found? R. Elemental creatures live in the fourth dimension of nature. 19. Are we the same human beings from ancient times who return, or do some disappear permanently? R. Humanity today is very old. It has been returning to this world for millions of years. 20. How long does it take for a human being after death to be given a body again? R. That depends on each person's fate. Some are reborn immediately and others take a long time to return. 21. Can a student who has begun to awaken consciousness, upon dying, realize the process of return? R. Those who awaken consciousness do not need to wait for the moment of death to remember past lives. They can remember them in life, here and now. 22. Does Gnosis consider it fair that millions of human beings live in complete ignorance about evolution, return, realization, and the awakening of consciousness? R. We Gnostics consider it unjust that there are not enough preachers, or rather, missionaries in large numbers, to take the teachings everywhere, but we are not to blame for all this. What happens is that humanity is only interested in having fun, getting money, giving itself over to pleasures. If people were more understanding they would care about these teachings and spread them. 23. What is the second death and what does it have to do with the return? R. The second death marks the end of our animal passions in the infernal worlds. This means that at last the damned, the lost, reach original purity, and when this happens they emerge from the infernal abysses, which exist within the earth. Then, as we have already said, such souls evolve again from stone to man. 24. How long will it take for humanity to understand the reason for the returns? R. Humanity will only be able to understand the reason for the return when it achieves the awakening of consciousness. 25. Why do people get born and die and keep repeating the same record? R. Certainly, people repeat, as you say, the same pattern. I'm referring to the law of recurrence. In each life, we repeat everything we did in the previous one, but we suffer the consequences of both the good and the bad we did in the past life. This is a vicious circle, a repetition of dramas, scenes, loves, reunions with the same people, etc., etc., etc. 26. How will we get out of so many repetitions? R. Only by sanctifying ourselves can we free ourselves from the law of recurrence. 27. Who commands us to take on a physical body again? R. We are sent into this world by the angels of destiny. They have recorded our good and bad deeds in their books. 28. If after the body dies, the soul goes to heaven, as many religions say, why not just stay there? A. Heaven is a prize and a reward for our good deeds, but when the reward ends, then it is clear that we have to return to this world. 29 Is it true that there is a hell? R. Hell with flames, that pit with burning coals and devils with forks, is a symbol that corresponds to a tremendous reality. There are hell worlds, lower worlds, regions of bitterness within the interior of planet Earth. In those abysses live the lost souls. 30 If some souls go to hell, how can we escape those flames? A. Teaching the doctrine to such souls is our duty, and it would be unjust, as I already said in a previous question, not to preach the teaching in all regions of the world. 31 Is it true that souls fall into a pit full of flames, and do not burn? R. Within the earth's interior exist fire and water. Failed souls identify with these elements of nature and suffer, but fire cannot burn them, nor water drown them, because souls are incorporeal, subtle. Viewed from another angle, this matter of flames, I want to tell you that such flames or candles symbolize our animal passions. 32 Who saw those flames and realized that the souls were there? R. Any intelligent person knows that liquid fire exists inside the earth. Volcanoes indicate this. You don't need to be wise to see the flames, anyone can see them in the craters mixed with lava and flammable gases. 33 What is the purgatorial region? A. Religions speak of purgatory and the purgatorial region. In reality, there are lower, submerged molecular zones located beyond the fourth dimension. In these zones, many souls aspiring to the light are purified by eliminating their sins. 34 Is it true that by believing in God one can escape from hell? A. Many people believe in God and yet they do not escape from hell. If one wants to escape from the region of darkness, one needs to become a saint. 35 Is it true that by memorizing the chapters of the Bible, one is spared from hell? R. In hell there are many people who know the Bible by heart, down to the last detail. 36 Could someone be saved simply by believing what is written in the Bible? A. Faith without works is dead. We need living faith, and this must be based on good works. It is urgent to live according to the teachings of our Lord Jesus Christ. 37 Is it an obligation to return? R. Until we reach perfection, the angels of destiny will send us to this world. 38 Will the return be favorable to pay for our bad actions? A. All the suffering we have in this world is due to the bad actions of our past lives. 39 Do we always return to the same family? R. The self continues in its own seed. This means that we continue in our descendants, that is, we return to the same family. 40 What is the difference between return and reincarnation? R. The egos return incessantly, to repeat dramas, scenes, and events here and now. The ego returns to pay karma and satisfy desires. The word reincarnation is very demanding. No one could be reincarnated without first having eliminated the ego. It would be absurd to confuse reincarnation with return. The humanoid with dormant consciousness returns. Masters like Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, etc., reincarnate at will. Chapter 4, The Law of Karma. 1. What can be answered to the uninitiated when, upon hearing of the return, they say that they cannot believe in it, since no one has gone and returned to tell what they have seen? R. The days come and go, the suns return to their starting point after thousands of years, the years return again and again, the 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter always return, so there is no need to believe in return since it is so evident that everyone is seeing it every day. So too do souls return, they return to this world, that is a law that exists in all of creation. 2. How can we demonstrate the existence of the return? R. By awakening consciousness, we can all witness the law of eternal return. We have systems and methods for awakening consciousness. A person who is awake can remember all their past lives. For those who remember their past lives, the law of eternal return is a fact. 3. Why is it that some people, despite being well prepared, working hard, and striving to achieve a position, fail to do so, while others, with less preparation and without effort, achieve the desired success? A. It all depends on the law of karma. This word, karma, means action and consequence. If we have done much good in past lives, then we triumph happily in this life, but if we have done bad in past lives, then we fail in our current life. 4. Why is it that some families, no matter how hard they try, can't make friends anywhere, while others find it so easy to win them over wherever they go? A. In past lives we have had many friends and enemies. Upon returning to this world, we are reunited with those friends and adversaries, and everything repeats itself as it happened. But there are also difficult people who don't like having friends, misanthropes, we might say, people who hide, who distance themselves, who withdraw from society, solitary by nature and instinct. When such people return to this world, they usually find themselves alone, no one sympathizes with them. On the other hand, there are other people who, in past lives, knew how to fulfill their duties to society, to the world, and even work for the benefit of their fellow human beings. It is logical that upon returning to this world they find themselves surrounded by those souls who, in the past or past lives, formed their circle, and then they naturally enjoy much sympathy. 5. Why is it that some housewives never find anyone who will faithfully help them even though they treat their servants well, while others have everyone who is faithful to them? Are those housewives who do not have faithful and sincere servants were, in previous lives, despots, cruel to their servants, and now they cannot really find anyone to serve them, because they never knew how to serve in the past, and that is the consequence of it. 6. Why are there people who, from birth, work tirelessly as if they were serving a sentence until they die, while others live well without so much work? That is due to the law of karma. People who work excessively and do not progress, in past lives made others work a lot, exploiting their subjects ruthlessly, and now suffer the consequence by working uselessly, since they do not progress. 7. My son got married and it went terribly wrong. The companies he worked for went bankrupt. He took out a bank loan to start a business and it was a complete failure. Everything he tried failed. He had to divorce his wife because of so many disagreements. After some time he remarried, and that man who was practically begging for alms, is now doing very well and his success is increasing every day. What is the reason for this?